What's up YouTube? I'm the nice one, and today we are texture painting that battle axe we had made not too long ago. So I think last time I showed you how to do a simple texture painting using diffuse shader colors and stuff like that. This time actually I'm going to show you how to texture paint a model, so like using the paint feature in Blender. So I'm actually working off an older version of Blender, I apologize, but this should apply to the newer ones as well, so you shouldn't have that much hard time transitioning. I just haven't switched over yet because I'm trying to render a scene and I didn't want to switch over to the new one yet before getting that done. Anyway, yeah, let's just get straight into it, okay? Cool. Alright, let's jump straight into it. So before we can start texture painting, there's a couple of things we need to do first. So let's import our OBJ file from Maya into Blender or whatever, or you can also use Substance Painter, pretty much whatever platform you want to use. I just decided to use Blender this time. But if you are using Blender, let's do a couple things to get set up. So let's pull out a couple more windows for us to view a couple different things. So let's pull out a window here. Let's pull out one more and one more. So we have 3 in total. Let's make this one, the top one, a UV editor. Let's make this middle one a node editor. And then let's make this bottom one, let's just turn this bottom one to a render, just so that we can see our work as it's going through. Okay, so looking at this, it looks like we have an emission. I think this is actually applying to the sun lamp. Yeah, it's actually applying to the lamp I had selected earlier. So we can deselect that and select this object right here. And so you can see that our axe actually doesn't have any material or any UVs assigned to it. So before we can start texture painting, there's a couple things we need to do. So let's press 5 so we can go to orthographic view, and then press 1 so we can go into front view. Now let's tab into edit mode, and the reason you want to do that is because what I want to do is select one of these edge loops right here. So to do that, you can go select this edge and then hold Alt, right click it again, and then it should select an entire loop that goes around the entire model. To double check that that's true, you can click S or Z, and make sure that it's a whole loop around the whole thing. Now with that selected, you want to go Control E for edges, and then let's go to edge data. And then let's go mark seam. Okay, so now what that does is it creates a seam straight down the middle of our axe model right here, right? Which is perfect, exactly what we want. So with that selected, let's go hit A a couple times to select the entire thing. Let's go U to unwrap, and let's hit unwrap. Now in that UV editor we had created earlier, you'll see that there's 2 meshes here, 2 islands that we can use to basically texture paint and create a UV map. So before I do that, what I might want to do is maybe arrange these UVs in such a way that they take up the most amount of space as possible. So maybe something like this might be useful, because the more space a UV takes up, the higher resolution your texture could be. Now there's a couple things you could do to kind of improve this. There's a couple things you could do in order to save up on more space. Like for example, you could probably overlap these 2 meshes because it's perfectly symmetrical on both sides. Yeah, you could absolutely do that if you really wanted to. For now, I think I'll just keep this simple. And yeah, I'll just keep it simple. So let's go scale -1. No, let's go scale X -1. Yeah, scale X -1, and then let's rotate it this way. And then maybe scale that up. Maybe bring it to like here. Yeah, deselect this, maybe scale this down, bring it here. Make sure you don't have too many things overlapping, because it's gonna come in, it might be a bit of a problem when you're texture painting. So usually when I texture paint, I use a tablet. This time, I'm just gonna use the mouse, but tablet actually works really easily. Anyway, yeah, I think that's probably good enough in terms of this UV map. Okay, so now let's click new right here, Untitled. Let's call it axe texture. Let's turn the width up into like 4K, so multiply by 4. So you can multiply by 4 by going *4. And let's do the same thing here and click OK. Great, now you see this black image, but just you haven't exported the image yet. So remember to go Image, Save as Image, and then maybe navigate to whatever folder you want Two, I have a texture folder here, so I'm just going to save the texture folder in that, or the texture PNG in that folder. Oh, looks like it wasn't able to save onto my C drive, so let's change this to maybe the D drive, textures. Let's make a new one and call it axe. Okay, great. And let's just save this axe right here. Perfect, okay, awesome. So now that we have the texture, we want to move over to our node editor right here, right? So let's click new material, and that's going to assign a material to the entire mesh, but we're not quite done. So what we're going to do is going to go Control A to add something, and we're going to add a shader, or not a shader, sorry, we're going to add a, I believe it's texture. Yeah, we're going to add a texture. We're going to go with an image texture, and we're going to link these two. And then in the render panel, you should see that the whole thing turns purple because there's no image associated with this node, so there's nothing to actually render yet. But we are going to go open, navigate to our folder where we had saved that file, axe, select the axe, click open, and boom, there you go. So it's black because in our UV map, the background is black. And so obviously it's going to look, basically what you paint onto here is what's going to show up here. Okay, but now I believe we're ready to actually start texture painting. So tab out of edit mode. Now let's go into texture paint, and you'll see that the whole thing is black, and you can actually just go ahead, maybe turn on this face selection tool so that you can select specific faces that you want to texture paint. Click A to select the whole thing, and let's just go like, yeah, let's do this. Maybe make a new palette and make a white color right here by pressing the plus, and there you go. Now you can start texture painting stuff, and yeah, you're perfectly good. You can start texture painting this however you want. There's a couple of features, or not features, but functions you might want to turn on. So you can go to object, you can turn off normal, turn off all of these, and maybe turn on normal. And when you turn on normal, it will only paint on whatever side you're facing, like this. If you turn off normal, it will paint through to the opposite side, just like that. So that you can see how that comes in handy. So let's turn all of that off. Let's press F for scale, and then Control F for intensity, or sorry, no, Shift F for strength. And if we turn the strength way up, we can pretty much paint this whole thing white as a base point, as a starting point. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, maybe even turn up the texture even more. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay, cool. Nice. So, and then now that we've painted this battle axe white, we can save the image and then reload the rendered panel just to see how it looks. And boom, there you go. Now it's looking how you expect it. So if you want to texture paint this, maybe I'll take you through a couple quick tips to do that. So press 1 to go into front view. Let's switch into edit mode right now. Okay. Now let's switch into wireframe, and switch into face selection. Okay, so you see how these little squares, these are how you select a particular face, right? So you're not going to select the face, you're going to select the face like this. But if you use the box selection tool and go like that, if you go B in box select, you'll only select a face if you roll over one of these little squares. Okay, so that means if you box select and don't select one of them, you're good. So keeping that in mind, we can pretty much box select very specific portions of this mesh as long as we're looking at it in orthographic view. Again, by pressing 5 to do that. So 5 goes into perspective, 5 again goes into orthographic. So just make sure you're working on the right view. So let's say we want to paint, you know what, let's paint this handle, right? So let's select that. And okay, with that selected, go back into texture paint mode. And now you'll see that because we had selected face selection masking, only this part of the model is selected to be painted, right? So let's change this to like a dark red, and we'll paint. And you see that it's not actually painting any other piece of the axe, right? It's just this one section, and that's really useful. So let's save that. And then, you know what, we're just going to use that technique to kind of go through and paint the whole thing. Obviously, you can go in and maybe add some shadows, add some highlights here and there, but I'm going to keep it simple and just kind of very quickly texture paint this. But you can see the possibilities, right? How you might approach painting a particular model. Anyway, so yeah, let's paint that, and maybe we select this, maybe we want to get this, and maybe we want to get like this. I don't know, you know what? We'll get this whole thing right here. There we go. And then we'll get this whole thing. And we'll get this whole thing. Right? Okay, great. Now, let's tab back into texture paint mode. And let's make like let's save this as a color. And then let's go to this yellow section. Maybe turn it up a little bit. Turn it down. Maybe make it a little more yellow. Like that. Yeah, sure. That's not bad, right? Yeah, something like that. Make it like a gold. And let's just texture paint like this. And boom, there you go. I like that. Now let's tab back into edit mode. What you could also do, if you really wanted to, is select each face individually like this. If you really wanted to. Again, it's up to you, to be honest with you. Personally, I like using the edit mode feature to do that. So let's go edit mode. It looks like actually I didn't select all the faces here. So let's go back into texture paint. See, there's a few faces here that I didn't paint, so let's just make sure we capture that so it doesn't look too off. Anyway, nice. Okay, great. Now let's go back into edit mode, and pretty much I'm just gonna go through and do that whole thing, right? So maybe let's select the entire thing up here, right? Let's select that entire thing, and then let's select this entire thing, and let's select this entire thing right here, okay? And then let's go into texture paint mode, and let's make this kind of like let's make this into like a gray, like a silver, maybe like a maybe dark silver. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, sure. Maybe even a little bit darker, touch darker. Yeah, there we go. And then let's paint it like this. There we go. Nice, I like that. I like it. And then maybe deselect. Now let's go back into edit mode, and then let's paint specific pieces on that mesh, right? So maybe we want to make this gold, for example. Maybe we want to make this gold, this kind of section right here. And then maybe we want to make like these spikes right here gold as well. So we're going to box select those. Maybe this goes to gold as well. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe we can make this right here gold if we really wanted to. Yeah, sure. And then maybe we can even this might be a little bit more complicated in terms of turn to a specific color, but we will try our best to get all the right faces without selecting the wrong one. So like that, there we go. Nice, amazing. That's exactly what I wanted. Maybe go back into solid object view so you can select these faces right here. And I did that by pressing Z, and then I'm just gonna manually select these faces. There we go. Back into Z, maybe back into front view. Yeah, okay, I like it. Let's go into texture paint. Maybe select the gold we had picked earlier and maybe paint that piece gold. Yeah, that looks pretty cool, right? Nice. Maybe go back to edit mode, and it looks like I actually missed one section, which is this one right here. So I want to maybe select this, just like that. Maybe these pieces right here as well. Something like this. There we go. Yeah, cool, great. Okay, great. And then maybe go back into texture paint mode and make that gold. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I dig it. Looks pretty cool. Maybe turn up maybe paint that. And obviously you can apply some like details in terms of how dark different shades of gold. Like for example, maybe you want to do this. Maybe make it like a darker bronze kind of color, right? And then maybe add that, deselect, front view, maybe go to texture, edit mode. Maybe you want to paint this right here. Like for example, let's say we want to paint this right here into that color. So maybe we'll go like this, make sure we select that entire face. And then it looks like we also need to capture this right here. So that we got that texture paint, and let's make this like the darker color, right? Awesome. Also looks like we missed a couple of meshes right here, so maybe just manually select those, maybe just go through, maybe just view your whole mesh on all the right angles just to make sure you didn't miss anything by accident. Again, I'm just kind of taking this really quickly, nothing too crazy. Anyway, texture paint that. Let's go back into edit mode. Let's go Z, wire. Let's say like, I think I want to turn this whole section into a darker shade, right? So let's go box select. Let's go like that. That should select everything. Yeah, perfect. Now let's go into texture paint. Let's select this color, maybe make it even darker like this. Sure. Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, okay. Not bad. Or you know what we could even do? We'll go, let's turn F to bring our brush down, and then Control F to bring up to turn down our strength. So if you use Photoshop, that's like hardness. And you know, let's just like add a shadow right here, right? Just to give this thing a little bit of detail. Maybe like throw in a nice little highlight there. Maybe turn this like way up. Yeah, you can just pretty much just start texture painting exactly like that, depending on whatever you want, right? Maybe turn that up a little bit and maybe add a little bit of shadow here. Maybe make sure to save your image though, so that you don't lose all the work you did. But you know what, we'll leave this for the reveal at the end. So, you know, for now, we'll actually close this. Yeah, okay, cool. Now let's go into edit mode again. And let's say I want to do the same thing for these faces. So Control B, let's hit B, and then maybe select these right here. Go back into texture paint, and let's use our dark shade to maybe add some shadow right here. Again, if you're using a what do you call it? Canvas, or sorry, a Wacom tablet, it makes it a lot easier. Not a lot easier, but a little bit easier. You can get a lot more detail. And yeah, that's looking pretty good. And maybe I want to turn this blade, like this edge of the blade, really shiny. So let's go into edit mode one last time. And let's go Z, and let's select this whole thing right here. And then let's go back to texture paint and use our really bright highlight. Maybe turn up our strength like this. Turn it way up. Just like that. Maybe texture paint all around. Yeah, sure. That's not bad, right? Go back into front view and maybe let's just like add a little bit of shadow right here, right? Yeah, let's add just a tiny bit of shadow. Maybe turn down our strength. Yeah, like that. And then maybe let's go edit mode. Sorry, now I'm getting ahead of myself in terms of, not ahead of myself, but I'm getting a little carried away in how I texture paint this thing. But I do want to add detail where you can. Let's make one more highlight color. So let's make it like super, almost like pure white. And let's turn this way down, turn down the strength. Or maybe turn up the strength a tiny bit. And let's just paint this right here, right? This part of the blade. Yeah, let's just make it real shiny. Not shiny, but yeah, you get the point. Okay, great. And there we go. Nice. Right? That's not too bad. I kind of like it. Yeah, I kind of like it. Maybe if you want to kind of, let's go to edit mode and let's say we want to paint this right here. Let's go texture paint mode, turn down our brush, maybe turn up our strength a lot, turn down our brush again, select this color, go darker, and maybe you want to paint something like here, maybe like, I'm using my what do you call it? I'm using my mouse, so it's a little bit harder. But let's say you want to paint something, you can turn on the stroke smooth. You use the smooth stroke feature, so you get a cleaner design. And then you can also turn on symmetry if you want. That way you get kind of like a perfectly symmetrical look like that. So maybe we'll do something simple. We'll go like a figure 8 shape. Sure, yeah, that looks cool. Yeah, okay, I don't know. Yeah, okay, sure. Sorry, I deselected that. Let's go edit mode, Z, B. Select those faces again, go back into texture paint, and yeah, maybe, sorry, I'm trying to come up with like a nice little design that I like. Yeah, okay, sure, something like this. It's kind of like a weird Celtic knot shape. Yeah, okay, I can get behind that a little bit. Sure. Yeah, sure, why not, right? And then what I might suggest is once you have that, maybe go back into this color, turn it up, maybe turn it way up, and then turn down your strength to add a bit of a highlight, you know, to kind of give it a little bit of depth that way. Again, this is obviously I'm not using, you might be able to, you could probably achieve a lot better in terms of doing these kind of like really basic texture painting things. If you tried, yeah, something like that, sure. And maybe hit save, and there we go. There's our axe, right? Right? Looks pretty good, not too bad, right? So let's see how it looks in rendered mode. So tab out of texture, tab out of edit mode. Let's go, let's make sure we turn on everything. Let's go rendered, and voila, there we go. We got a really cool battle axe thing that's texture painted. You can obviously add your own details. This is kind of ugly, to be honest with you, but hey, it's only up to your imagination from this point on. But yeah, that's pretty much how I texture paint most of my models. Obviously, I might take more time for other stuff, but if you like this kind of look, then by all means, it's kind of a flat, ooh, I missed some stuff right there. Yeah, I should fix that. Solid. You know what, it's fine for now. Anyway, yeah, there you go. So hopefully you like it. Hopefully you found this useful if you're doing texture painting. I know some of you have been asking me about that recently. And yeah, it should be the same for like Blender 2.9. It should be about the same, a similar process. So not to worry too much about that. Anyway, hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. I will talk to you later, okay? Bye. Thanks for watching the video. If you like my content, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know down below what you want to see next, or just check out some of these other great videos. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you later.